Welcome back to Harbor. Well, Hillary Clinton often touts her experience as First Lady as the reason to vote for her. But today's New York Times examines her foreign policy credentials from the White House years and, among other things, reports that she did not have a security clearance at all as she was First Lady, did not receive a copy of the president's daily intelligence briefings, and was barely speaking to her husband when he was weighing whether or not to bomb the Sudan and Afghanistan back in '98. Has Hillary oversold her foreign policy experience from her time as First Lady? Well, U.S. Congressman, a Democrat, Joe Sestak of Pennsylvania, served on the National Security Council during the Clinton administration. He's a Hillary supporter. What do you say to people who say Hillary was the First Lady? She wasn't Secretary of State. She wasn't Secretary of Defense. She wasn't on the NSC. Why can she claim that experience?
It makes a big difference. Look, I was at the White House for 2.5 years as Director for Defense Policy. I was close, but not as close as Hillary Clinton, to decisions on war and peace. She stood there in the White House when a father came back with grief of having lost his son in combat. She was also there when awards were given to our men who had come back, for example, of Haiti. When the president was done, she then sat there in the cabinet room. I watched her and talked to them about the future. She understood that our military could not, even though it's a national treasure, can't be used recklessly. But more than that,
Let me get through this, because the policy question in the Democratic Party, your party right now, is about who to use to replace President Bush. President Bush is not popular in the Democratic Party, largely because of his decision to take us into Iraq.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton voted to authorize that decision. Why does that represent good experience on her part? What good has her experience done her if it said, go along with Bush on the war?
Here's where it has helped. She understands that we have to redeploy from Iraq. She has judgment. For instance, she was there in the White House when the decision was made to move 2 aircraft carrier battle groups off Taiwan. Remember 1996 and the missiles were raining down?
No, I don't actually.
Yes. We moved 2 carrier battle groups off of there and the missiles seized. 9 years later, she asked me as a Navy admiral in Congress. It was a helicopter procurement hearing, and she stopped at the end and said, Admiral, I have a question to ask you that doesn't have to do with this hearing. What does it mean to the United States Navy, to our nation, for a China that in the last few years has begun to pursue a large Navy in the Western Pacific? She didn't forget how easy it was for us to move 2 carrier battle groups off Taiwan and stop at that time when China really didn't have a good Navy, and the difference it is now. And therefore, when you read, Chris, her Foreign Affairs article, it says the most important relationship we have in the future is with China. This is a woman who has learned and thought through what she saw at the White House, close to decisions on war and peace, and understands that our military, even though it can't be used recklessly, nor can be hoarded like miser's gold, if it is to be a force for peace and progress. That is the judgment that she has garnered from her time in the White House.
Congressman, if you connect the dots, she supported the war in Iraq. She voted to authorize it. She said it was a very tough decision, but she voted to authorize it. Barack Obama opposed it. She voted to identify the Iranian National Guard, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, as a terrorist organization, which to many people seems like another neoconservative justification for a war, another one of these Iraqi liberation acts that gets us into trouble politically. Where is she displayed? You've pointed out the input. What's the output been? What demonstrates to us the use of her experience?
This is a woman who understands the processes of Washington. Let's take her Iranian vote. Very few people understand that until the Iranian Guards were declared by the president as a terrorist organization, they could not be placed under sanctions by an executive order. She therefore voted to encourage the president to place them under that executive order. She understood that this had to be pushed by Congress in order to have the president actually then act, which he did, because of hers and other votes, to move this Iranian Guards underneath the executive orders of a terrorist organization. I know. I've operated with those.
She doesn't sell what you just sold. She doesn't go out and brag about the fact she voted for this resolution. She seems embarrassed by it.
Not at all. She made the right decision. Now let's take
what about the war in Iraq? Do you think she was right to vote for the war?
Here's a person who takes accountability for her decision. She had the seat of a senator when she made that decision. It's relatively easy for others, myself included, who wasn't in the seat, voting or not seating, to say, I was against that war. It counts most when you're sitting there and actually have to cast the vote. That's when you can hold someone accountable. And she said, I made the best judgment I had on the intelligence that was provided. We know now how that intelligence that was provided by the Bush administration was misrepresented.
She believed at the time that Iraq was going to launch a nuclear weapon at the United States. What was the threat that justified us going to war?
Never said that a nuclear weapon would be launched against the United States. Bush said that.
Yeah.
She was concerned about the weapons of mass destruction and the intelligence that had been presented to her.
And she believed that that was the reason we were going to war.
She encouraged...
She believed that's why Bush was taking us to war.
Weapons of mass destruction and the way that President Bush had presented.
I don't believe that was the reason we went to war with Iraq.
But Chris, it's relative.
It was geopolitical.
There could have been several reasons why we went to war with Iraq, but never because a nuclear weapon was about to be launched.
You know how I know it wasn't? Because when we couldn't find weapons of mass destruction, the President said it was still the right decision. Because his primary reason for going had nothing to do with the weapons of mass destruction. He made that manifestly clear the minute we got in there. Oh, we didn't find the weapons? We still should have gone.
And Hillary Clinton has said, based on the information she was provided at the time, precluded from some of it by the White House, she made the right decision for what she knew at the time.
That's your judgment. I don't think the Democratic voters believe what you just said. They don't agree with you. They think it was the wrong decision to go to Iraq. They think it was the wrong decision to target Iran for another war.
But here's what they also believe. While Americans may be tired of this war, they want to salvage the best from it. And here's Hillary Clinton, who stood by her vote, and not only that, has not said, get out of Iraq tomorrow. She has said, get out of Iraq. How we end this war, she recognizes, is important. Actually more important than just ending it. And that is the kind of experience and that's the strength she brings. It's not just where she's appealing to every voter.
I know,
she has a lot of appeal to those. That's
Humphrey brand of Democratic foreign policy. I think the Democratic Party's in a mood for more of a Bobby Kennedy foreign policy right now. But they don't want that.
But think about Hillary.
Do you think
Clinton.
They want what Hillary's offering?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. She's ahead of her times. Think of where she went as First Lady. She went to India, soon to be the #2 economic power in the world. #2, she went to China. She went to China and spoke about human rights and women's rights. And most importantly, I think, she went to Africa. She recognized before others did that poverty is where terrorists go. They hide. Finally, this past year, the military woke up and actually established, Chris, as you know, what's called the Africa Command. She was there talking about security, poverty being a security issue well before others. She has vision. Not only that, she understands, as the example I gave you when I ran the executive order, how Washington works. We need a person with vision, but someone who can go to the boiler room and fix Washington that's broken.
Africa. I spent 2 years there. Thank you very much.
Glad to be here.